A few years ago, I had my kitchen redone. Part of that process was having a kitchen planner come out. What she said broke my brain. Okay. Hi, my name is Mindy, and today I'm going to talk about 7 tips to keep your kitchen tidy and organized. Tip number 1, keep things where you use them. So she just needed to measure, but she did have a few questions about like, where do I keep things? She said, where do you keep the silverware? And I said, well, right here. Well, where do you keep the plates? And I said, oh, right here. She said, huh, interesting. And I said, wait a minute, why is that interesting? Like, that doesn't seem interesting to me. I'm gonna show you. So what the kitchen planner said was, well, over there for your silverware and over there for your plates is fine, but I'm just surprised you wouldn't keep your silverware right here in between your table and your dishwasher and your plates right here, right above your dishwasher, so that when you're unloading, you can unload your dishwasher by simply pulling out the silverware and putting it right in the drawer and pulling out the plates and just stacking them. It's already right there. You guys, it never occurred to me. And how many of you have done this before? How many of you moved into your house and it's craziness because there's people in your house and they're moving boxes and people are trying to be helpful and they say, well, where do I unpack things? And you're like, I don't know, just put it somewhere. And so they do put it somewhere and then it just lives there. It just lives there forever. So tip number 1, put things where they make sense. So I'm gonna show you a couple of other examples of things that I have that are in a place that makes sense. I make oatmeal a couple of days a week. And so I just have the oatmeal right here next to the stove. That's also where I keep the walnuts, pecans, whatever they are, and the dried cranberries, because we put these things in the oatmeal. Now, it doesn't make sense for them to be right here because I don't keep food in these cabinets very often. Well, for me, that's the perfect spot because it's so easy for me to make the meal. And if you think about it, you probably only make a dozen different meals. I mean, right? Like, most of us aren't like chefs that have these expansive lists of meals that we make all the time. So if you think about it, you can probably set your stuff up to be relatively easy to make. Tip number 2, don't allow a space to be more than 75% full. Ideally, don't let it be more than 50% full. Once you do, it becomes hard to get what you need out of that space. So you might be thinking right now, but I have too much stuff. Like, I have too much stuff. It takes up, I have a really small kitchen. That means you need even less things. So one way you can do that is try removing a few pieces and see if anybody notices. You might find that you function just fine on a day-to-day basis with fewer things. Do you need 10 juice glasses? Maybe you only need 3 or 4. Do you need all 12 coffee cups? Maybe, you need 2 and then 2 extras so that you feel secure that you have enough coffee cups. That leads me right into number 3, which is break up sets. Oh, this can feel painful at first, but I am telling you that, I am giving you permission to not keep an entire set. Did 8 coffee cups come with your dish set? But then you also have the cup that you actually use, and maybe your significant other has a cup that they use, and now you have 12 coffee cups. And how many coffee cups do we really need? It turns out for me, I need 6 coffee cups. 6 coffee cups, and I never have to wash a coffee cup. That's half as many coffee cups. That gives me coffee in the morning. It gives my significant other coffee in the morning. If I forget to run the dishwasher that night, we have more. Plus, I have 2 in case we have hot cocoa or something in the evening. And God forbid you have to wash a dish by hand if you run out. Washing a dish by hand every now and again is way better than living your life trying to sort through a cabinet full of dishes that you can't get to what you need. Other sets to break up are knife sets, food storage. How many times have you bought a set of food storage and it's 72-piece food storage? Well, that's because, so they have to make that number big, and they do it by giving you 10,000 tiny Tupperware food storage containers that nobody uses. Nobody uses them. Who uses these? So if you find a use for as many tiny Tupperwares as they actually give you, then would you leave a comment below and tell me, what are these things for? Like, how are you going to use 12 of them? Because that is how they're coming up with 24 of their 72 pieces. Also, pots and pans, you don't have to have the whole set of pots and pans. And if you don't want to get rid of some of this stuff, it just feels wrong to you, you can just pack some of it up and put it aside. All right, you can just put it aside, and maybe you'll need it another time, or maybe after a while you'll see that you actually didn't need it in the first place. Like, you're functioning fine without all those extra pots and pans in your way. By the way, if this is helpful to you at all and you vibe with this sort of thing, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. Tip number 4, don't buy a set unless you need every single piece. It's okay to buy things one at a time. I know it can be more expensive, or if you find that it's less expensive to buy the set and then just immediately donate the piece that you don't need, then go ahead and do that. But pay attention. Do you actually need every pot and pan in the set? Do you have it currently? Like, do you have that same pot that you use currently? Or is it just that you could envision yourself using that pot if you had it? Don't get pieces that you're not using something like that currently, because you probably won't use it. Just buy them one at a time. You only need a few pots and pans anyways. Or if it's a great deal and you do buy the whole set, just go ahead and let those pieces go right away. Don't even let them in your kitchen. For heaven's sakes, don't buy the 42 count utensil bundle. Nobody needs that many utensils. Like, you'll be okay without all the extra spatulas. I promise. Just try it. And if you do buy it, just set them aside for a little while, and then you'll see that you don't need it. You don't need it. You'll be happier without it. I promise. And of course, the 1 in, 1 out rule, right? So if you do buy something new, like new glasses, don't just add them to the glasses you already have. Get rid of the old ones, donate them, let them move on to the next person, and go ahead and donate a few of your others. Or if you want to keep them because you might break one and you want to be able to replace it, but you don't need all of those glasses in your space right now, just move some of them to storage, and at least getting them out of your everyday real estate space will be so helpful. All right, tip number 5, don't stack things unless they're the same. I think I have an example right here. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you can see if this is coming through, but I have food storage here, and now it's not perfect, and this isn't perfectly clean or organized, but so if I have 2 food storage containers that are the same, then I will stack them on top of each other, but otherwise I don't stack. Okay, in fact, even down here where I have, in my Lazy Susan, where I have my nesting bowls, I do not nest them. They're just one at a time. I'm not perfect about this rule, but overall, if you try to not stack things and you're not spending all of your time digging to get the thing you want, you will be much happier, and your kitchen will stay cleaner and more tidy because you're not removing things to get to the thing you want and then not putting those things back. It's a lot less stressful, it's a lot more peaceful, and I think you'll feel the benefits of having less when you're not jumbling through all of your stuff trying to get to the thing that you actually need. Tip number 6, don't let things live on your counter. As much as you can help it, don't let things live on your counter. I have this little decorative green, smelly thing. I have olive oil. It's too tall to fit in my cabinet, but then it turned out that I kind of actually like the way that it looks, and then I have fruit. The rest of my countertops, they don't have anything. So I have a couple of things, but I'm not keeping an air fryer out on my counter. I'm not keeping a toaster out in my oven. I'm not keeping a knife block. Clutter begets clutter. And when we have so much on our countertops that we can't even see what's there, then what happens is that something gets added to that pile and our brains don't register it. Our brains just say, oh, there's always stuff on the counter, and now there's also still stuff on the counter. So keeping it, under maybe like 5 items total, maybe something decorative, maybe not. Like, do we really need decorative things? I try to make my decorative things be useful, like, fruit, an olive oil, and a smelly thing. And then this little branch that doesn't actually have a purpose, but I just like it. And my last tip, number 7, is don't keep single-use gadgets. Unless it's the kind of thing that you use like every day. For the most part, I don't have single-use gadgets. That means I don't have stemware an air fryer, an Instant Pot. I don't have a chopper, KitchenAid mixer, hand mixer, steamer, juicer. You get it, right? Like, if you can not keep something that you're only going to use once or twice a year, don't let that stuff take up the real estate in your kitchen. Okay, now I want to give you a bonus tip. I think this is the most helpful thing that I've ever used to help me organize and declutter my kitchen. Consider every shelf and drawer in your kitchen as the valuable real estate it is. It should only hold the things that you use daily, and then if you have any space left, weekly, and then if you have any space left, monthly. And beyond that, I wouldn't even keep the stuff in the kitchen if you're not using it at least monthly. And if you don't have room for the monthly, keep it in a different storage area. The things that I use daily are these food storage containers, and only enough food storage containers for what we actually need. There's about, I don't know, I probably have 10 containers in here. Even when it comes to like Thanksgiving and Christmas, that's usually enough containers, or sometimes I'll just use the casserole dish that I cooked it in, right? Like we can be okay. I can put saran wrap on a bowl if I really, really need another food storage container. I don't have to keep giant sets of it. So this is stuff that I use daily. My fish dish, at least 3 times a week, I put bread on my fish dish at dinner time, so that gets used. Now, the things that I use more like maybe every other week are up here. I don't know if you can see it, but I have bread dishes up there, and I make banana bread, I make meatloaves, I use those for that reason. So I just realized a little Thanksgiving turkey hanging out with me here. Anyways, so if it's not something that you're using consistently, don't let it take up the space in your kitchen. The easiest way I think to do it is to actually take every single thing out of your kitchen, put back the things you use every single day, and then put back the things you use every single week, and then determine what kind of space you have left from there. And the rest of it, you can just store in another area. It will make your life so much more peaceful. All right, that's all I have for right now, my friends. But if you want to see me declutter my kitchen, then you should watch this.